In the endless crucible of the 41st millennium, where war is a constant reality, the Tau Empire shines as a beacon of reason amidst the madness of endless conflict. While the galaxy is steeped in xenophobia, tyranny, and a blind pursuit of domination, the Tau stand apart, driven by the philosophy of the greater good, a vision of unity and shared prosperity that transcends the barbarism of the galaxy. Today, we turn our focus to two tactical doctrines that encapsulate the Tau's unique approach to warfare: Mont'Ka and Kauyon. These doctrines are not merely combat techniques, but expressions of the Tau's deeper moral vision, aiming to secure peace and stability while minimizing suffering. To understand these strategies fully, we must also appreciate the Tau's position in a galaxy where survival often comes at the cost of one's ideals. By mastering the principles of Mont'Ka and Kauyon, the Tau are able to navigate the perils of galactic conflict, always with an eye towards securing a future where the greater good prevails. Let us first consider Mont'Ka, the killing blow. This doctrine embodies the ideal of swift, decisive action. In the heat of battle, there are moments where a single, well-executed strike can alter the course of the conflict, preventing it from devolving into a long, drawn-out war. For the Tau, Mont'Ka represents efficiency, the art of eliminating key threats with minimal expenditure of resources, time, and importantly lives. The Tau's commitment to precision is exemplified by their technological innovations, particularly their use of crisis battlesuits, mobile firepower, and air support. These units are crucial in carrying out Mont'Ka strategies, providing the ability to deliver devastating strikes exactly where they are needed. The effectiveness of this doctrine can be seen in the Damocles Gulf Crusade, where the Tau faced the relentless might of the Imperium. With the vast forces of the Astra Militarum bearing down upon them, the Tau did not engage in a frontal assault. Instead, they applied Mont'Ka, targeting command nodes, artillery positions, and supply lines. By striking at these vital points, the Tau were able to disrupt the Imperium's logistical infrastructure, forcing them into a stalemate. What is important to note is that Mont'Ka is not about mindless aggression. Tau commanders are patient hunters who wait for the precise moment to strike, ensuring that their actions are as impactful as possible. It is a doctrine of decisive, controlled violence, one that reflects the Tau's overarching goal of minimizing chaos in the galaxy. By employing Mont'Ka, the Tau seek to shorten conflicts, thereby reducing the overall suffering that comes with war. If Mont'Ka represents the power of a single swift blow, then Kauyon, the patient hunter, embodies the art of subtlety, deception, and careful planning. In contrast to the aggressive immediacy of Mont'Ka, Kauyon is about luring the enemy into a false sense of security, allowing them to overextend themselves before striking at their weakest point. In this way, Kauyon capitalizes on the enemy's overconfidence and rash actions, turning their strengths into liabilities. A classic example of Kauyon occurred during the First Phase expansion, where the Tau faced the ferocious might of the Orcs. Rather than confronting the Orcs head-on, the Tau withdrew strategically, leaving tempting targets, abandoned settlements, and decoy supply depots in the Orcs' path. As the Orcs charged forward, believing they had the upper hand, they unwittingly entered into carefully prepared ambush zones. Hidden Tau forces, including stealth suits and Pathfinder sniper teams, struck from the shadows, cutting down the Orcs with devastating precision. The brutes never realized they had fallen into a trap until it was too late. Kauyon requires extraordinary patience and discipline, traits that are highly valued within Tau culture. A commander using this doctrine must be willing to sacrifice ground and even appear to retreat if it means luring the enemy deeper into a vulnerable position. The Tau view this as the highest form of strategic wisdom. Victory is achieved not through direct confrontation, but by controlling the flow of battle, making the enemy's own aggression their undoing. In doing so, the Tau conserve their forces and resources, ensuring that they can continue to fight for the greater good without unnecessary loss of life. This balance between offense and defense is a hallmark of the Tau's tactical genius. While other factions, such as the Imperium of Man, rely on brute force and faith, the Tau trust in adaptability and intelligence. Through this dynamic interplay between Mont'Ka and Kauyon, the Tau are able to overcome even the most seemingly insurmountable odds, always keeping their eyes on the ultimate prize, the the advancement of the greater good. To fully understand Mont'Ka and Kauyon, we must also appreciate how these strategies reflect the deeper ethics of the Tao. Unlike other factions, the Tao do not wage war for personal glory, territorial conquest, or sheer survival. War, in the Tao's eyes, is always a means to an end, never an end in itself. The ultimate goal is the preservation and expansion of the greater good, a vision of galactic unity where all races can coexist in harmony. Both Mont'Ka and Kauyon emphasize this moral framework. Mont'Ka seeks to end conflicts quickly, preventing the unnecessary loss of life that comes with protracted wars of attrition. Similarly, Kauyon is about avoiding direct confrontation whenever possible, instead achieving victory through superior tactics and careful planning. In both cases, the Tao's approach to warfare is rooted in the idea of minimizing suffering, a concept that stands in stark contrast to the grim and nihilistic outlook of factions like the Imperium or Necrons. The Tao's ethical stance on warfare becomes even more pronounced when compared to the callous disregard for life seen in their enemies. The Imperium, for instance, will throw endless waves of soldiers into the meat grinder of war, valuing lives only as expendable resources in service of their crumbling empire. In contrast, every action the Tao take, whether it is a Mont'Ka strike or a Kauyon trap, is carefully calculated to ensure that the fewest lives are lost. For the Tao, every life spared is another step closer to achieving the greater good. In conclusion, the doctrines of Mont'Ka and Kauyon are far more than mere battle tactics. They are the embodiment of the Tao's philosophy in the arena of war. Mont'Ka teaches the power of swift, decisive action to bring about peace, while Kauyon emphasizes patience and the art of turning an enemy's strength against them. Together, they form a holistic approach to warfare that prioritizes efficiency, wisdom, and above all, the preservation of life in service of the greater good. As we move forward in the Tao's grand mission, let us never forget that war, though sometimes necessary, is not to be glorified. It is a tool to be used wisely and sparingly. Through Mont'Ka and Kauyon, we seek not only to win battles, but to create a future where such battles are no longer needed. This is the true meaning of the greater good, and it is the vision that will guide the Tao Empire to its rightful place in the galaxy. End transmission.